computer games and stuff. Did I even say the word "and" properly in that first sentence?
You said,
Computer games, stuff. That'll do. That'll work, won't it? This is the Word as Godzilla Poopcast. My name is Space Endeavour. There are 3 other people on the podcast.
Never mind quality, feel the width.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Oh, I need to change on the live stream. Oh, by the way, we're going live. This is very exciting. Sort of. Well, it's a stretch of the word exciting, isn't it?
Going live with Annika Rice.
The stretch of the word live.
No, it's not. Jason doesn't appear to be able to comprehend the fact that we are, in fact, live and on the internet.
I don't know. What's the difference between our previous shows and this one?
They were recorded.
Previous shows were recorded. This is live, Jay.
Yeah, but it's not like we do any edits or anything to them.
Well, no, you're right.
Prettier.
I never cut anything. That's what makes this podcast unique. I just leave all the shit in there.
We should cut stuff.
No, we shouldn't. We should.
Like this.
It's real. No,
this
it's
isn't
real.
like, some awesome fucking cinema verite movement that you're doing in the podcast. Peanut.
No, it is.
It's just shite.
This is Inside Baseball, but the shitty podcast.
Wait, are we going?
This is the podcast.
Yeah,
this is
it.
it.
Right.
This is literally the podcast.
Like I'm saying, there's no difference between these and the past ones.
Brilliant.
I started doing the intros, but I got lost in the confusion of Chris. That's Chris Charlton.
Hello.
Jay is also here. He doesn't realise that we're live.
Hello. I think we're live.
And Tanner Parker's back,
Hello.
coming for the two-peat. Is that what we call them? A two-peat?
It's a two-peat.
A repeat, I guess, would be the
No,
real...
repeat. A two-peat surely would be repeating twice.
Yeah.
Which is
Wait.
what people call a three-peat.
Yeah, you're
Well,
right.
I'm back.
No, that's not important. We're working on words.
Oh,
We played some. We actually played a fair few computer games this week. So let me start off by saying with a fact. Do you want a fact?
Go on.
I went.
Give us the factoid.
The fact is, you're right. You are correct here, Jay. It's a factoid. I went to didyouknowgaming.com.
What's that?
That's the factoid.
What is that?
It's a website full of factoids about computer games. And the factoid I've got for you today, really lazily from their website, instead of trying to find things out on my own, is that in Sonic, whatever it's called, where there's a werehog, the name doesn't actually make sense because
because
were means man, or
Yes.
were is an old word for man.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking to you, Chris. If
I
you
know.
know, you don't have to go. No, yeah, I know this, Dave. Stop talking.
Yeah, I know.
There are hopefully at least another 2 or 3 people listening. So were means man, wolf means wolf. So that would be a man that can change to a wolf. A werehog would be a man that's either half man, half pig, or a man that can change to a pig. So another
So in
reason
conclusion,
why...
I'm sorry, but if this is going to be the problem that we take away from Sonic Unleashed, I think that we have our priorities completely fucked.
No, I mean, I think
No,
it's just
trust me,
another...
the linguistics of the werehog is completely off base.
I think it's just indicative of what was going on with Sega at the time. It shows a lack of care. You know?
A lack of imagination? I don't think so.
I'm waiting to see how you segue this into our first topic.
Oh, the first topic is trivia time.
Oh,
Yeah.
Fucking hell. The thing is, right?
What is the thing?
We always start with weak segues into trivia, and it always has Sonic in it somewhere. Like every single one of your fucking trivia things has Sonic in it somewhere.
Yeah?
That is what's indicative of this podcast, I think, is
Just
that
the
you
Sonic
continually are obsessed with 3D Sonic games. Which is
all the
about
lore
the
that's
level
around
of our
it.
fucking broadcast.
While we were waiting in line to see Iron Man 3 today,
Nice.
we were pulling out our phone to basically read Shadow the Hedgehog and Shrek fan fiction and exposing our friends to the gotta go fast phenomenon. It's so good. It's so bad, but it's so good.
You're gonna have to put a link on the podcast episode thing. What do we call those? The show notes.
You guys don't know about Gotta Go Fast?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
Is that the noise you make when you're reading it?
It's the best thing.
It sounds like the best thing.
Go ahead and keep talking. I'll throw a picture into the little chat here.
All right, do it, and we're gonna we'll put a link to it in the. But are we gonna call them show notes? That seems
That's what
awfully
they're
arrogant.
called. It's the post that the podcast goes in.
Yeah, let's.
If you really
That's
want.
that's snappier. Let's use that. We'll put the link to the thing about which we are talking in the description of the episode, which can be found on the website at wheredoesgodzillapoop.com. See, that's so much easier than saying we'll put it in the show notes.
Get on with it. Get on with it.
All right,
Get
so
your trivia out
the
there.
first. You shut up. People come for the trivia. I come for the trivia. But people come and listen for the trivia.
You come on the trivia.
So, the first week, Dave won because you were too unintelligent to get the questions. The
Yeah.
second week, Tanner won because he was the only person who gave a shit.
Wait,
Now-
I won.
Wait, did you?
Won.
No.
Yes,
I won.
because Tanner gave the correct answer, but he didn't buzz in.
Oh,
And
fuck.
I won.
Okay, so first,
You win
before we
on a
start,
technicality.
by the
only
way,
reason why I didn't win is because I wasn't here. So
we
guys got
should
lucky.
probably say.
Which in a way means you won bigger. Than...
I don't feel bad at all.
So I'm going to point out at this juncture that this is a computer games podcast. Sort of, three of us live in Japan, one of us doesn't, but he wishes he did. Should we say that? Is that an excuse to have you on the podcast?
Yeah.
I love Japan. It's the third best place. Anyway, right. So the format I'm going with is you guys need buzzers. Before it was a transatlantic buzzer thing, so you're gonna have to come up with something. Jay, what's your buzzer?
Noodles.
Right. Tanner, what's your buzzer?
Toot.
Toot, noodles, and
But they sound too similar. Noodles and toot. I don't like that.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
I was gonna go Toodles, but
Surely, why do we need buzzers? We all have different voices.
the listener doesn't know that, and I use the singular.
The listener does
purposefully.
because the listener has ears and they're listening to us, right? So we
But-
should all like.
how about we
should-
just say our name? Tanner.
exactly? Yes.
Well,
No,
that's
I'm sticking with noodles.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. Let's have a bit of whimsy. The world's too serious. We need buzzers.
I
Dicks.
think you're giving our listeners a little too much credit. They know we have voices, but
They're like in
That's-
the gym and eating gorgonzola and having oral sex while they listen to this podcast. We're the only ones who sit at desks.
No,
Nice.
I'm sure they're not.
I was on board when you
I'm
said gym.
positive they're not.
you had me at gorgonzola.
It's a cheese, right? Or is that a vegetable
Yeah.
of some sort? Good, yeah. Okay, so the first round is going to be the anagram round.
All right.
So I will give you an anagram. It is the name of a computer or console game. First person to buzz in. So we're going to go with noodles,
I
comma.
didn't buzz in. Noodles.
What are the other?
I'm gonna say-
What are the other
He's
noodles?
confirming your buzz.
All right. Noodles.
Thank you.
I
Right.
was
So
going to give the answer right now. I almost gave it
noodles, Tanner,
Toot.
Toot, and Chris.
Chris.
You fucking asshole.
I
So-
endorse his buzzer.
That's 50-50. All right. The anagram is normally a cleric. Normally a cleric.
Bring up a notepad. A friend.
A friend of a cleric.
What?
Normally a
What the
cleric.
fuck? How the fuck
dipshit.
did you get that?
You're trying to confuse.
Give a hint.
Well, I was about to.
Go on then.
The game title has 3 words in it. I am now just looking up whether that is in fact the real title.
That's great.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
There might be an apostrophe S. No, we're good. We're all right. We're okay. We're okay. There is no apostrophe S.
Normally a priest.
Oh my god!
A cleric. Cleric. That's what it was, right? Cleric, priest. Pope?
Bishop.
Oh, I forgot to buzz in. Noodles.
Right, go on.
Atari.
What is happening? Jay, do we need to define anagram for you?
No,
Jay's
I know
the
what
best
an
bit of these segments. In fact, it's the only good bit of these segments.
You shut up, Doubter.
I'm gonna get this one. I want one more hint.
What does it start with?
Well, it starts with one of those letters.
Oh no!
Right, so do you know what an anagram is, Jay? Do we need to define that for you? It's where you mix up the letters.
Yeah. And
All right.
Put them in the right order.
There are the same number of words in the title of the game as there are in the clue.
Yeah,
Normal-
because you said there were 3 words in the fucking game, and there were 3 words in the clue. I figured that out.
Right. Good. Just checking.
Jesus Christ. Is
Turn your
So
fucking
is-
phone off.
Okay. I'm getting serious now.
what type of game is it?
It is. I'll tell you what it was on first. It was on probably the PlayStation 2.
Probably. Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Let me look it up.
Um,
It might be on PlayStation 1. Give me a sec. PC and PlayStation. January 1998 in the United Kingdom. September 1999 in the United States.
Oh, it's a British game then.
I've got nothing.
It is.
And the words aren't mixed up either, are they? Like they're in the same order, or can they be reversed?
No, all
Kinda
the
like-
I have no
letters,
idea
and
what he's
an
asking.
anagram is like all the sum total of all the letters. Like, don't, even though it's normally it's not an anagram of the first word.
Okay.
It's a
That's what
it's a
it's- the
3-word
whole thing is.
title. Normally, a cleric.
So is definitely the second word then,
No.
right?
No.
No.
It, well,
So
if you want to know it, it's 5 letters, 5 letters, 5 letters.
That helps.
You're being sarcastic, because it actually should. It is. I don't necessarily want to say. Not a racing game. It's a driving game. It's not Driver.
You know what? I give up. I'm
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
It has the name of a person in the title. A name of a real life person.
Steve's Racing Game.
Steve. Okay, correct.
Lester the Unlikely. I don't.
Buzzers, come on, people.
I don't think he was genuinely guessing that it's Lester the Unlikely. All right, let's
The
get
racing
this
game, the
party
classic
started.
racing game, Lester
Put
the
it out
Unlikely.
of its misery.
Normally a cleric, it is a driving game for the PlayStation
Yes.
1 and PC. There are
Yes.
3 words in the title.
Yeah, go on.
It is a rally game.
What? What? The name of the game is... Oh, I know. Yeah, Chris. It's
Go on,
Colin
Chris.
McRae Rally.
It's Colin McRae Rally, you
Thank you.
dipshit.
Oh,
For
Chris
ending this.
has 1 point. Fuck me.
You're
Right.
sure.
Speaking
like, who's ever played that game?
of games in which you drive and skid and things,
This is
because
the
fuck
funniest
you,
thing.
that is a
Because
segue that
fuck
works.
You're going with the segue. That's completely the opposite of the running order we already decided. Because, like, we actually talked about this before we even started.
No, yeah, we do actually plan some
We
things.
do actually plan stuff, and then Dave goes, fuck that, I'm gonna do my trivia thing, and then get my shit in.
Right.
Colin McRae, like, isn't he dead?
Yeah, he died.
That doesn't
in a
stop
helicopter
his
crash.
game existing in the past.
I thought that's how
Monster.
it worked. No?
Right. No, that's not how anything works, you hideous human beings. Right. Next. Dirt Showdown. That's a game I bought and played. That'll do, won't it? That's a segue. What the fuck is going on in Jay's house? Alright. There's Japanese children shouting all over the place. I bought...
I just got done beating one of them. So
Cool. I bought Dirt Showdown.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that video game?
It's a good computer game where you drive and stuff. No, genuinely, it's really, really good. It's sort of somewhere between, I'd say, Destruction Derby, or Derby, as you might be likely to call it, and
Derby.
more like Motorstorm, something like. It's got the boost that you have in Motorstorm anyway, and it can be a little bit slidey and fun.
I watched a video. It kind of reminded me of like RC Pro-Am.
I don't know what that is.
Because it's kind of a top-down racing thing,
No,
right?
you're thinking of
No,
Motorstorm
you're
RC.
thinking- Yeah.
No.
No, Dirt Showdown is like the other Dirt games. Like it's
Colin
you're in a
McRae.
car. Yeah, I liked Dave. I played Dirt 1 and 2, and I played a lot of Colin McRae Rally. Back
So
in the day.
you're more of a simulation-y kind of.
So yeah, I like the rallying bits where you're driving really fast down a really like narrow road and the guy's going, watch out, there's a tree on your right, and hard, easy left maybe, and things like that. Is there that stuff in this game?
No, it's far more like something like Destruction Derby or Burnout. So
Yeah,
it's,
I actually know exactly what you're talking about now.
it's a silly arcadey racy game. And it's not just a race game. It's got all sorts of ridiculous modes. Like the one, if you're watching the video version, the one you can see now is Elimination, where the person at the back of the pack sort of gets deleted every 5 seconds, or you're out of the race. And there's kind of assault courses almost, where you have to go around like hitting little barriers of certain colours and things like that.
Oh yeah, Gymkhana they call it.
Yeah, so it's just really fun. And I'm going to have to put some music, one of the songs from the soundtrack, because the soundtrack for it is fucking amazing. And you'll see it come up in a minute. Like, the menus and the way it looks are super slick. I mean, Codemasters have gotten really good, or Codemasters Racing, or whatever that team's called. They've gotten really good at making super slick menus. Like, it never stops. It's, like, constant. There's sound and fireworks going off, and the music is brilliant. Like every single track on it, it's all different genres. There's like drum and bass in there and rock in there. There's rap music in there. There's sort of dancier stuff, and it's all keeps up this like stupidly fun level of excitement. And it's, I get sweaty sitting there playing it. It's just really fun the whole time the game is on. I mean, I can't play it for massively extended periods of time, but I play it for 45 minutes at a go, and I'm like, yeah. At the end of it, it's like, it's so much fun. The whole package is really cool, and I think it's on Amazon sale at the minute, so I'm going to demand that 2 out of the 3 of you buy it and play it with me on the internet.
I'm getting sweaty just hearing about it.
Yeah.
Did you
Dirt
ever
Showdown,
play-
it's fucking brilliant.
Did you ever play Grid? Because I mean, Grid 2's coming out. Like Showdown, when did Showdown come out? Late last year, 2 years ago.
It was last year.
But
Yeah,
like,
the end of last year, I think it was.
It's
Maybe
the one that
maybe
came
about
out
a year
after
ago.
Dirt 3. Trying to find that
Right.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's this is basically taking the engine of what was a fairly serious rally game and saying, fuck it, we want to make something fun. That Motorstorm was really good. Destruction Derby was really good. We've got an engine, do it.
Motorstorm was really good, but Motorstorm was all about track design and stuff. Like,
Yeah,
does this have that?
Motorstorm
Are
was
you,
a
like,
great
driving
racer.
Are you driving off the sides of mountains?
No, it's not to that level. It's just in that it's a fairly easy to control, pretty forgiving game with boost. Is why I say it's more like Motorstorm, which I guess you could argue it's more like Burnout. The tracks are a bit tighter. There are little jumps, but you're not flying off onto the moon and things like that like you do in Motorstorm. So yeah, just have a look at it. It's really, really. I mean, I very rarely get into racing games. To put it into perspective, I like Motorstorm. I like Micro Machines. I like what was I talking about for? What's it called? Destruction Derby. I liked that at the time. I like Carmageddon. I was never, I keep trying to play F1 and things like that, and it's so unforgiving and so difficult that I just get miserable.
Yeah.
So
those games are intense. It's hard to get into, even with Gran Turismo.
yeah, Gran Turismo as well. I just can't necessarily take it. And this is just, there's so many modes, and it's just a stupid. It's like the Mario Party of car games. It's really good, really good. So yeah, if you get the chance, get it.
Check it out on PC.
I also
On
bought
sale
another
on
racing game. Speaking of Micro Machines, and speaking of fucking forgivingness or unforgivingness, I also bought what's it called? Mini Motor Racing Evo.
That sounds crap. Like, I mean, just by you reading the title out, that sounds crap.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it looks like a nicely made Micro Machines clone. but like a modernized. You know, it's 3D, and all the cars look cute and super deformed and little, and it looks really nice. But I just have such an amazingly frustrating experience when I'm playing it, because you touch the walls at the side a tiny bit, and you're completely fucked. You like in Micro Machines, you would tap on the sides a little bit. It would slow you down, but it'd be forgiving. You'd have a minor disadvantage. Everyone could do it. You could basically bounce your way around a Micro Machines track, and as long as you use things at the right time, and you were taking decent lines most of the time, you could keep up. With this, you can be in front by some way. You touch the wall once, and everyone just boosts past you, and you're fucked. Like, I went from being first to last immediately after playing racing really well for the entire race, and that was after several attempts at doing that map, that course. So it's like £10 or something. It was on. I just saw it come out on Steam. I was like, "Fuck it, I'll get it." It's indie. It looks fun. It looks like Micro Machines. How bad can it be? What a silly question.
But the thing is, with that, nothing can get past it. I mean, rubber banding is a really difficult thing to pull off, like convincingly and stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know if you ever played that. Oh, was it Split Second that the Disney guys made?
Yeah, the one where it was all the pre-designed explosions and stuff going on.
And that was really, really fun. But once you played it for more than an hour, like the rubber banding was just horrendous.
Yeah,
like,
it's the sort of game you have to not take seriously, isn't it? And you just play with your friends and.
Yeah, it was a bit. I mean, you just couldn't get far in it at all, just because it was rubber banded so badly that you would just wind up going from first to last on the last corner.
That's frustrating.
So I definitely don't recommend it. I've only put about an hour into it, and I found it frustrating as fuck. And so it's a shame, because the cars look really cute and it looks really pretty, and it looks like it should be brilliant. Maybe they'll patch it up, but it seems like a design problem rather than a bug or something. So I was disappointed by that. I also bought Sherlock Holmes.
I also bought this.
Why?
I bought that, and then I bought that, and then I did this, and then,
Shut up, Chris.
and then I had a sleep, and then I had a bit of toast.
I bought Testament of Sherlock Holmes, but that's in my list of things to play because I didn't actually touch it. But have you ever seen that video of Creepy Watson or whatever? Scary Watson.
Yeah. Where he just turns around and he's in his face every time.
There it is, yeah.
So good.
So it's one of those. I think it's a sequel to that one, maybe. It looks pretty. It's a Sherlock Holmes game, so hopefully there'll be some depth and intelligence to it, and it won't be use the rubber chicken to make a catapult.
Is this one where they gave a massive spoiler about the game away just in their E3 demonstration?
It might very well be that one, yeah.
Right.
But I don't know that spoiler, so please don't.
Oh,
God,
okay.
who was telling the story?
I think it was on Giant Bomb, wasn't it, somewhere?
Bombcast?
Yeah.
Oh, it was Griffin McElroy, I think, was telling the story of like the PR lady trying to convey what the game is, but just opens it with the biggest spoiler. Like, it's the beginning of the game. You discover Sherlock Holmes. He is dead.
Did I not just say no spoilers?
I don't care.
It's implied, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
He's
Sherlock
not,
Holmes.
Chris, he's not coming on again.
All right.
Dude.
Yeah, so
wanna
it's
hear it.
very
I
weird,
wanna-
isn't it? Kind of before. I mean, that could be, even though it's right at the start of the game, people still might want to be surprised by that at the start of playing their new computer game that they just bought.
Well, it's like how well they protected Raiden in Metal Gear Solid 2, even though that's like a 1 hour in spoiler,
Yeah.
But they protected that so well up until the game came out. But I mean, you can't do that nowadays because of the internet and shit.
Because of me ruining things
dicks
for
like
everyone.
Damn you, Facebook.
So that's go on.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to go from off-the-wall racing games to off-the-wall action games, because I want to hear Jay talk about Blood Dragon.
But there's nothing off the wall about Blood Dragon.
No? Yeah, quite straight-laced.
It's a perfectly normal game with dragons that breed lasers. I mean, this is what we all dream about, right?
It's the Daft Punk fighting simulator.
Exactly. It's the Daft Punk with Tron simulator.
I played a little
Speaking
bit
of
of that too.
Yeah, is it not the best game ever? I mean,
It's pretty sweet.
It is. It is. And saying Tron and putting Daft Punk in the background is exactly what it is. I mean, if you've even watched the last Tron movie, Daft Punk is part of the the soundtrack. But without giving them too much credit, I forgot who did the sound design. I think it was Power Glove.
Yes,
One
Power
Yeah.
Glove.
is behind their soundtrack, which is awesome. And I like how you can listen to the tracks on
It's just come out on
what
iTunes.
SoundCloud
Mm.
and
what?
iTunes.
Yeah, you can buy it as an album, right?
Yeah,
Was it an original soundtrack done for this game, or was it just some songs by a band?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's original. I mean, the soundtrack is definitely original.
Oh,
I
right,
don't
okay.
know. I don't
It's
know
not
if
licensed.
Right.
No, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But
Cool.
I don't know if they designed the music around the game. It could go both ways.
Well, that would be what original is.
Well, it's a perfect fit. Like it totally sounds like that early '80s like Terminator, like that vibe. It captures it perfectly, and that like the cutscenes are all done in like a faux like bridging the gap between like 16-bit and 32-bit, like just really crunchy visuals. Yeah, like it's all just super well done, and all that said, if they had like, I wish that they had kind of been a little more straight-faced about it, like recognize that it was funny but played it straight, because sometimes you'll be looking at the loading screens and it'll be like, yeah, we know this is a joke, wink, wink, like to the camera. That stuff just
Right.
totally takes me out of it.
You know what?
Right,
I was listening to another podcast talk about this. Another podcast that's far inferior to ours, but like it was. When they were talking about it, they were just going, "Oh yeah," and then there were all like these '80s quotes and references that are just there, sort of apropos of nothing, and they're just there, and it's brilliant. And then they were trying to remember lines from it and delivering them poorly and stuff. And I was thinking, this sounds like the worst fucking thing ever to me. And like, I haven't played it, and having watched videos of it, it looks much better than it does to hear people talk about it. But it kind of sounds like the boring fucking guy in the pub whose entire sort of sense of humor is just rattling off quotes of things that he remembers.
What it sounds like is Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah, right?
It is not Duke Nukem Forever, I promise you.
Yeah, it's completely different. And
I bought it, so I'm going to play it this week. So I'll tell you whether it's Duke Nukem Forever or not.
yeah,
Well,
I put
that
it on the
and
PC. I put it on the PC as well, and it's definitely the gameplay is. I mean, I see where people and I've heard other people talk about it on podcasts, and it kind of gets repetitive hearing that all these 80 references and things like that. But the actual gameplay is it's Far Cry 3.
It's Far Cry 3, yeah, with lasers. I mean, that's all I needed to know. It looks different. It's Far Cry 3. It's got lasers and shit. Like that's enough. Like I was just impressed that here's this really pretty game that did really well, sold really well, was great, really fun, massive open world kind of proper PC old school style shooter, really. Well, when I say old school, I mean like early 2000s rather than 90s. But it's kind of very PC oriented, like single player, proper, big, well made, decent, fun single player game. And they could have just gone with DLC, more missions. DLC, here's some escort missions. DLC, here's what you didn't see about that one character for 2 hours. But instead, no, they went with laser dinosaurs and 80s music, and it's fucking brilliant. I wish more games did this. It's like I was saying, well, basically sort of the same as Dirt Showdown. You take the engine that you already have, you take the mechanics you already have, and just let someone do something really fun with it. Imagine someone's bored of that game but really liked it. What would they want to play next, kind of thing? You don't necessarily want an extension of the same thing all the time. So it's got to be encouraged.
I'm interested from just a humor perspective, and like it's, I don't know, there are games that are funny, but it's not the game that's funny. Do you know what I mean? Like it would always be sight gags or gags in the script, but it's like it's difficult to make like a playable joke. And that's what kind of put me off when people start talking about, oh, it's so funny. It just kind of, it doesn't sound, like my type of thing. Because like, it's little jokes like I know there's a tutorial gag, right? And
Yes.
Jay, you brought that up in the review. And the way actually I watched video of that and it turned out better than I thought it was here described. But like the tutorial gag's something that a few games have done where your character will go, oh, fucking tutorials or whatever, you know, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, you still have to do the tutorial. Right? So that's not a funny gag because it's like they're saying how shit tutorials are, then having you do a tutorial. Where like if you wanted to make a playable joke, a better joke would be, here's the tutorial, here's the drill sergeant that gives you a gun and tells you to go on through the obstacle course. But without prompting, you can just shoot the drill sergeant and then the game will go, hey, yep, you passed the tutorial. Like, that's a funny gag that you can do in game, but like, there's a disconnect that I don't know. I've maybe someone can prove us wrong and point us towards a funny game. But,
I mean, just making references to things is, I mean, just because it's 80s references, I think people are giving it a bit more leeway, that you're forgiving it a bit more, but just making references to things is as funny as putting memes in, like internet memes in computer games.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing with Guacamelee as well.
It's cheap. It's free humor. You reference a thing that people know, and they go, "I know that." And that's not funny. I mean, if they use it in a funny way, that'd be different. If they lampoon 80s things, that's different. If it's just literally Duke Nukem saying "line from movie," then it's not great. You know, it's not original. It's not clever. But you know, if it's just silly, you know, it's $10. Who gives a shit?
$15. I don't know what is it, like $15.
I think I paid like 10 because I got it on sale on Green Marathon or something.
I think on PSN it's like 15 or like 12 if you're on Plus.
Yeah. Okay.
But trust me, there's a lot more to the. I mean, there are a lot of references to movies, but really not as much as what people are complaining. If there are any complaints.
I'm still absolutely going to play it and probably love it. It's lasers and Far Cry. Fuck it.
There's a lot of subtle stuff too. Like you're sitting there and you're holding the trigger with this Gatling gun, and you just start screaming at the top of your lungs. Like there's really no reason why. But that's something you would do in real life. Like if I were out there with a Gatling gun and I'm trying to take out this enemy or this dinosaur, I'm gonna freaking scream at the top of my lungs.
Yeah.
Even though that is, you know, a tilt of the hat towards Arnold Schwarzenegger or Terminator movies, right? It's just like, so it's that type of comedy. I think it's real. I think it's clean, actually. There's some of it. The beginning of the tutorial is luckily very short. There are some cutscenes that could have been shortened more, but almost flawless.
Did you review it on the site, or did you just write it?
He did. Yeah, he reviewed it.
What score did you give
hopefully,
it?
I didn't. I gave it a 3.75.
Oh, that was that fucking thing, wasn't it? So Jay's not allowed to write reviews anymore because he doesn't understand that it's a 4-point scale.
But it's just that I enjoyed it that much. That's how much.
Was it a 3 or a 4? Should everyone play it, or it's a 3? Is it?
It's a 3. Everyone should definitely check it out for the price. People are completing it in 6 to 8 hours, but you can do that. I think it took me maybe 6.5.
Yeah,
I think you can whiz through. I've heard you can whiz through just the story missions in like 3 hours, right?
You could. But I was having a good time. Just like, look at these freaking dragons, they're freaking lasers everywhere. It's not just the dragons too; it's everything else in Far Cry. The snakes that jump out of the bushes, that grab on your arms. They all got laser eyes, and tigers, and.
It is like someone had been watching an Arnold Schwarzenegger marathon and then watched a bit of Tron, and then they were told, "You're actually the designer for the next DLC, so do whatever you want."
Yeah.
And they went, "Okay."
They just meshed them together.
Yeah, which is fine. You know, it's creative in a way of just saying you're going to do this in the first place, even if the actual script isn't necessarily the most original comedy in the world. It's still cool that it's been made, so it's got to be supported, I think. So, Chris, what have you played this week?
I played Star Command, I suppose, mainly.
You reviewed it as well.
I reviewed it, reviews on the website. I liked it a bit less than Jay liked Blood Dragon.
So 2. You liked it too.
I liked it too, to the scale of 2.
2.5.
No.
Straight up 2.
No. So Star Command, if you don't know, was a Kickstarter project. It actually had 2 Kickstarters. Raised $200,000, came out a year and a half late and was really different to what the original pitch was. So the original pitch was that this was going to be a 4X game, so like Civilization, that you were going to do mining, that you were going to do trading, that there was like all this diplomacy and stuff. And what's here, like what there is now, is a sort of time management combat game. Yeah.
I left.
All right.
Good stuff.
That was a chuckle.
Good flowing conversation, chaps.
So I mean, what I said in the review is that this could be a Kairosoft game, and like it could be called Star Battle Stories or something.
Yeah.
And people go, "Oh, this is amazing! Look at this Kairosoft game! Isn't it brilliant?" So I mean, I think, as I said, it speaks to how bad Kickstarter is as a prospect, because if you're a creative person, like any creative endeavor is the result of a lot of compromise, you know. I mean, even the website we have is the result of a lot of compromise, because we have jobs and other things to do. We have a writing staff of like 1.5 at any given time, you know. We have one designer, you know, and like, so everything that we do is a result of compromise. It's just that because Kickstarter is what it is, they have to lay out their grand plan at the beginning, and then, you know, eventually it's never going to turn out that way, and that's a shame. But the problem is with Star Command is that if they'd have just focused and gone, right, this is a compromise thing, let's make a really tight little time management game, then I think you could forgive it. But what Star Command kind of constantly does is, if it was a website, it would be a Netscape website with the little gif of the men with pickaxes, you know, because it just goes that each of your staff members, when you go in, because you can level up your staff, you assign them jobs in different rooms, and they either fix your ship or heal people or fight in battles and stuff. But if you go in, you can see where their level is, and then there'll be a separate button with contraband, because there's going to be an update where you can smuggle contraband. But when you touch that button right now, it just says coming soon. and like, if you go and you travel across the galaxy, because there's going to be a separate update with a sandbox mode in it. But now when you open the galaxy map, it's like, here's the entire galaxy, but the game only has 2 star systems in it, and you're just pinging across between those. So it's like, but if you just focus on the combat, like, it's fun. Like, there's all these plates to keep spinning as you would in a time management game. You have to have people in your weapons rooms, like, charging up your next shot to take care of the ship.
So this combat you're talking about is the between ships laser fights, rather than the boarding. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they all kind of come in together. So everything's based on timers. So you're waiting for your timers to fill up, and they've got their timers that are filling up. Once you fill up your weapons, you can shoot, you can take fire on the other ship. You've also got like an evasive maneuvers room, and you've got a shield regenerating room. But when the other ship hits you, they also have a chance to board you. So they send boarding parties across. Once they're on your ship, they can set fire to shit, or they can kill your captain, then it's game over. So you have to pull people out of your rooms to fight the people that are on your ship, and to heal the guys that are fighting. But while you're doing that, you're not generating resources to take fire on the other ship and stuff. So, I mean, it's really, really stressful. There's permadeath in it. And, you know, you can rename your crew members. So it's like XCOM, you get really attached to your crew guys. And when they die, it's like, oh, you know, it's such a huge shame. But it's almost too stressful for its own good, because once you're midway through the game, you're getting less in resources back for winning than you do in losses, you know, to recant your losses from the crew that have died. So like it felt to me, I was really satisfied for just squeaking out a victory against like this really tough ship. But then it's like, well, now I'm fucked, you know. I'd have to go back to another save and reload that, because I've only got, you know, I've lost 10 guys, well, you don't have 10 guys, but I've lost like 5 crew members. Each crew member to replace costs 1 resource. So that means, and I've only got 4 resources back for winning the battle, so I'm actually weaker going into the next round. I can't upgrade my rooms, and even the guys that I'm hiring are at a lower level, so they do worse. It's like this.
That's how FTL sort of felt to me a lot of the time. Was
I was just going to say that too.
I mean, I know that's how these games are designed. They're very stress based, but I constantly felt like I was at a disadvantage and just getting worse with each fight, not sort of slowly improving and having to pick my poison. It was just getting worse consistently. And it's a balance thing. I mean, other people really enjoyed FTL though, so I mean, I still think it's a very good game. I just don't think I'm very good at it. But maybe the case with this is it's not quite balanced enough.
It's not quite perfectly balanced. I think it's just ultimately I can't, for what it is, I can't recommend. I wanted to recommend it right away, and I think what I sent you a text the morning that I got it saying I'm fucking loving this, because when you start off and you get going, it is really exciting. But then it's just the more you see, the more it stresses you out, the more you kind of look at the other parts of it and you see how many corners have been cut. And it's like, right now, hold off a bit, they'll update it with the extra stuff, and then, I'll check in again and say what I feel, I think it's telling that it feels like this iPhone version is a demo of what it's gonna be when they do, because they are gonna launch it on Android and on PC as well. So it feels like you're paying $3 for a demo right now. And if I backed it, I'd be seriously pissed off. But I think really, if you back anything on Kickstarter, you're asking for trouble, kind of.
It's just a gamble.
Yeah, you're not necessarily asking for trouble, but you leave yourself sort of in a position where you can't necessarily complain if if it doesn't quite turn out, because a lot of these people, well, there are Kickstarter projects where people are, they used to work for big studios and they're going indie, but then there are also people who don't necessarily have the experience, and that's the reason they can't get funding, is because they haven't proven themselves yet. And the point being, you don't necessarily know. I'm not saying they're inexperienced or terrible at making games, but you don't necessarily. There's no guarantees. Even with people, like there's what's it called? Space. What's his face? The elite guy. Frontier guy.
David Braben. Yeah.
He's doing whatever his new one's called. And again, he, when he made the game that everyone's so excited or was so excited about, it was 20 years ago.
More than that, sorry.
So there's no guarantee that this game he makes on modern platforms is going to be amazing,
it's like we talked about The Cave a couple of months ago on the show, and that's a fucking terrible game.
Well, Ron Gilbert's been
Ron Gilbert,
he had, when they were in their prime doing the stuff with LucasArts, that's when Ron Gilbert was the man, right?
Yeah.
And since then, it's like it's that old man in the pub who is chatting shit, but it's that old man in the pub who remembers being funny and is trying too hard to be more funny now. So
I quite like Deathspank.
That's because you're an idiot.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
No, but it's like I was saying about memes, right? It had a lot of the baconing. It's pandering a lot of the humor in
the second one, definitely not as good as the first, but I went into the first one just knowing, okay, Ron Gilbert, and it was easy jokes, but it was lighthearted, and I genuinely enjoyed it. But I could totally understand why somebody would hate it.
Yeah, maybe I'm just being a bit of a snob.
Maybe.
I don't understand why anybody would hate Deathspank. That's a freaking awesome game.
Thank you.
I got your back, man.
Why don't you go and start the Deathspank cast?
Whatever, I'm still reeling that Chris fucking referred to that game as being the equivalent of a GeoCities website under construction.
Right.
So...
No way.
Oh.
Well, it's I understand that, a lot of iOS games do that because they want you to keep it. It's so easy to just blast through an hour of what's on the app and then just delete it, and they want to keep you there.
Yeah. For the record, I'm just teasing you. I thought it was funny.
The thing is, a lot of games will have that coming soon tab, but it's not quite as glaringly obvious, because if you do that, it is like having the fucking coming soon or we're working on it GIF on a GeoCities website, and it just makes you look low rent. It makes it
Yeah.
clearly obvious that you've put out something that's not complete.
How fun
On
would it be if they
PC?
put a visitor counter at the bottom of the game?
On PC,
Like some,
it basically effectively sounds like a beta, right? And as long as you know you're paying for a beta, and if it was on PC where it's far more the done thing, you'd be fine. But yeah, to sort of put this out as like the release and then say that we've only implemented 30% of the features we wanted.
Yeah.
Okay,
How much
good
is
for you.
it?
It's $3, I think.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like you're paying very much, but it's just galling. Again,
Money's
as I
money.
said, if they didn't have that coming soon shit, and if they sort of refined the core that's there, then I'd be much more positive on it.
Yeah. Trivia time!
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Bringing that back.
Do you remember your... Yeah, it's not going away, Jay. Start another podcast. Right, what are your buzzers? You remember your buzzers? You can remember your
Yeah,
buzzers,
I
all right?
remember my
That was
buzzers.
this episode.
Noodle.
All right. What's your answer, Jay?
Atari.
No. All right.
Sometimes can be
Which
right.
one do you want? Who won the last one? Chris?
I did. Yeah.
All right, you got 1 point, which means you can choose the next round. Do you want the Metacritic review, or do you want the Who Am I?
I'll take the Metacritic user reviews.
Man.
The dramatic reading of the Metacritic review. Do you want to be able to buzz in and stop me at any time, or do you want to have to
I
wait till
think
the
that's
end?
for the best.
Right, okay. The thing is, it's kind of obvious from it gets less obvious as you go through the paragraphs what game they're talking about.
Well, just say blank.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to read a random Metacritic review. It might be good. It might be bad.
This is a user review.
From a
Straight
user
to the
review
scene,
from
yeah.
Metacritic. All right.
Is that right? Wait, before we start, is the game actually out? Because I think it would be more funny if it wasn't.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I might try and find that next time.
Right.
All right. I'd like to see every driver on Earth, driver on Earth, play this game for at least 10 hours. Then they might realise why truckers want to break their head when they cut them off at roundabouts or
I
leave them
know-
with
I
no
know
room
what
to
it is.
stop.
Toot!
He's used his buzzer. Go on.
Euro Truck Simulator 2013.
Oh, there you go.
Yes. Let me
Damn it.
continue because I want
Okay. I win.
to. Hooray!
Guys, I
1
win.
point.
Okay, go ahead.
Nutcase driving delinquents could do with a few hours hauling 18 tons of diesel between cities to see what it feels like to have cars passing them dangerously close, or even dealing with the idiots trying to kill them! Exclamation mark. There really were no commas in that.
This guy really likes his job.
Yeah, I know.
Because he comes home and he plays the simulator of his job.
Perhaps traffic management and road designers should do a minimum of 50 hours community service on this game to learn that 30-foot trailers do not go well around 90-degree corners covered in guardrails and streetlights. It took 585 hours to decide that this game only falls short in the commerce and driver management department. The rest is pure eye candy and amazingly addictive gameplay.
Oh my god.
I know. There are indeed some
paperwork
AI issues, occasional GFX stutters, and a lack of depth in the commerce and truck and driver management, but as a driving simulator, it rates an easy 10.
I wonder,
understand.
if he could play it on his tablet, right? And he's got his tablet, taped to his steering wheel on his truck. So he's playing
Windows
the
8
exact...
touch tablet.
I can only figure out that that's how he's put in 600 hours into his game. That he's actually driving the same route in the game as he's driving the route at work.
I understand that the talented but small team at SCS are working on the management aspect and tweaking the AI. If they can pull that off, it's a game with a lifespan of many, many months, possibly years. If you simply want to smash stuff and look at pieces of trucks and cars or even blood flowing across the road, this is not for you. Straightforward, easy to learn, but no two trips will ever be the... Nope, I need to read that again. I'm giving him too much credit. Straightforward, easy to learn, but no two trips will ever the same. SCS is on a long-term winner if they get that management longevity and perhaps, just perhaps, even multiplayer or at the very least co-op 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that
it's a
was
very
that.
glowing and positive review.
Yeah,
He seems into it.
I swung from negative to positive this week. I thought it was a bit nicer. So that's 1 point for Chris, 1 point for Tanner, and Jay crying alone.
Sounds
Hey,
good.
man. I'll come
He's still
back.
got Atari.
I'll make him
Sounds
come
good.
back.
I will make Atari the answer about 3 years from now. Atari will be the answer for one of these questions. That's right, three more years.
And then I'll answer Sega. I'm like, damn, that one time I could have got it right.
Go on, Chris. What was the thing you wanted
Can
to
we
do?
do my brilliant segment now?
Do you want to do that? Have we got time for that? We can do if you want. Go for it.
Yeah. So like Dave got his segment from not listening to other trivia podcasts about video games, but
Of course, naturally.
I haven't been listening to Judge John Hodgman.
No, wait.
recently.
You're being unfair. I genuinely didn't know that GameSpot did the Metacritic
okay.
thing. I wasn't lying last week.
Yeah, but nobody. I don't think anybody does this in the context of video games on the podcast.
No,
You know,
Judge John Hodgman. I see. I do know who Judge John Hodgman is. There was a lot of strange sound going on there.
Yeah. Stop now.
So, yeah. So, go on.
Well, I propose that it can be whoever. For me, I've got a topic in mind that we bring a video gaming convention crime to the table each week, and for now, because this is my idea, I'm going to be the case for the prosecution.
Okay.
And somebody else has to, without context, speak up in defense as a devil's advocate style.
Oh, I can do that.
And then we can judge
You don't even know what the
whether
topic is.
then we can judge whether it's guilty and should be consigned some horrible punishment, or whether we let it off.
So it's room 101 with a defense counsel.
Yeah,
Okay. For English people.
right.
It's room
Or
101.
if you ever read Amiga Power back in the day, they had a
So it is
kangaroo
stolen.
court. Yeah, it is stolen, but it's like 20 years ago, so
We're bringing it back.
we'll bring it back. Yeah.
All right. What is the topic at hand? And are you the judge or you're the prosecution?
I'm the prosecution. So
Who wants to
and-
be judge? I'm already quizmaster. I don't want to be judge.
Well,
the devil's advocate.
Jay's devil's advocate. So
I'll be
Tanner,
judge.
you can be judge, right?
All right.
All right. Does that mean I do nothing?
I'm
fine with that.
You could be the bailiff, and
I could be. I'll just do
Witness?
the. I'll do all the paperwork.
No, you're
Yeah.
Quizmaster. You just sit in the corner and giggle maniacally.
All right. I'll do that.
We'll call you for witnesses, maybe. I don't know. Okay, so I would like to call to the call attention to the court to the bits in video games where you have a door and you have to hammer the open door button to open the door. Right? So, like, I suppose most popular God of War, if you remember back in that, there would be some doors that you just walk through, but then occasionally some doors would be heavy doors, and you have to tap the square button to, like, slowly open the door, and you see him muscle the door up, and then you go through. And I've been playing Syndicate recently, and Syndicate has that, because like it's the future, right? So most of the doors are like future doors, and they're smart doors, and they say welcome, and they open for you. But then occasionally you have like physical doors that are old, and old stuff's rubbish in the future. So you have to tap the square button, and you see him slowly opening the door, and then you move through. Now, my case here is that this serves fucking nothing. It serves no purpose. All it does is slow you down. Like, why? How is this fun? Does anyone enjoy tapping the button to open the door? Do you get anything from it? Is it doing anything like story-wise to tell you that this door is difficult to open?
Interjection. Can I say
You go
that?
ahead. You go first.
Interjection.
Yeah.
Interjection. I also wanted to interject, but you go first.
It may not bring anything to the story, but mechanically wise, there are games that require loading screens. This is one way of
I understand
providing
that. I understand that.
without you just staring at a blank door.
I understand that,
loading
yeah.
at the bottom of the screen.
So yeah, that's what you have corridors for. Syndicate also has a lot of corridors. So yeah, I mean, you can walk down the corridor, it can load up the next section, and you don't feel, it doesn't feel quite as obvious. Whereas, like, especially in Syndicate, when you're tapping the door, you're opening the door, and you can see the next room. You can see it's there. It's already. Don't give me this. It's loading the next room bullshit.
Well, I mean,
I can see that it's right there. Just let me in the fucking room.
So this is my interjection. As the judge, I need to clarify. Are you arguing that it is something that should never exist and adds nothing to anything, or it is something that has been played out and needs to go away?
I think it was a bad idea in the first place. I think it never should exist, and I recommend to the judge that from now on, should a video game contain this hammering on the open button to open the door mechanic, that it instantly gets one poop removed from a review score.
Understood. The counterpoint I will say is that specifically the first example you brought up, God of War, where you had to mash on the button in order to open the doors, in order to open the chests. Personally, that's the first time I ever saw that done in a game, and the game was very reliant on feeling very physical. And so, as a result, mashing on that button to lift these crazy heavy doors and force open chests and stuff, it actually felt like, like you had to actually make an effort to open these things. Totally on your side by saying it's way overdone now, but I feel at the time it actually added something to the experience. Like
Thank you,
Resident Evil
Judge.
4 in its QuickTime. Okay, back to judge mode.
No, I said thank you, Judge. I agree.
Okay.
I object.
Continue.
I object. Are you saying, especially in the case of God of War, are you saying that it's not difficult at all to murder massive giants, which you only have to press the triangle button to do, but that it's so fucking difficult to open a chest that you have to tap on the button?
I'm not going to say that there isn't a weird juxtaposition there. What I will say is it did make opening doors feel a little harder.
Opening doors is not difficult. I can open a door right now.
But neither is walking down long corridors, and I noticed this. It
Well,
was really,
sure.
really irritating in Darksiders, where you're just walking through these long caverns, and you're just like, what? Where is there an enemy? Can I just throw something at me? But really, they just want you to look at all the pretty things, and it's kind of the same thing they do with a good example is God of War, where you can actually see into the other room. It just adds to the prettiness of the game and the physical effect. I'd much rather, I don't know. I mean, I like a good mixture of running through empty caverns and then having to interact with my surroundings. I mean, a lot of people complain about
I
lack of interaction.
I really look forward to the game you make, Jay. So you can go walk through an empty room and then tap really hard to open a door at the end, and then there's another empty room.
And you can mix it up with using the analog sticks or quick time events. You can,
You're
can
basically
balance it
talking
all.
about Heavy Rain at this point.
Right.
As a handsome mustachioed neutral observer, can I? Well, I guess it's more of a question. Does this
You're a
include
witness.
things? I'm a witness. I've seen games. Does this include things like in Call of Duty where your guy is like almost drowning and has to bust his way through a metal door to escape the submarine, and he's like kicking at the door and like desperately trying to get out because it's a life or death situation? Does this include that, or are you purely talking doors which would otherwise just open?
I think you could make a case that if you're desperately critically wounded and you're sort of moving, you're tapping the button to move just a limb and an inch forward to do something that should seem basic. Yeah, I will perhaps grant you that. I think tapping is still stupid. I think like tapping as a means, it hasn't changed since track and field. Like the only way to express exertion in video games has been tapping, and I think like that needs to be replaced by something better. But I see
I
a point,
propose
and I will
waggle?
concede to that. Hmm?
Can I propose waggle?
Oh, waggling,
Yeah,
yeah,
as
of
a-
course, yeah.
Would you rather waggle a Wii remote around to open a door, or to?
I said,
Keep my
Probably
mouth
not.
shut on this one.
No, I was talking to Stacey, who's been on the podcast before, and I was saying that because she was saying, she doesn't really play games with QTEs and button mashing and things like that, and I was saying that a better way to see it is rather than there is a game mechanic where you mash buttons or press the button that comes up on the screen, see it more as there are cutscenes that are interactive. So if they're done right, like I was saying in Call of Duty, where it's like a desperate moment, your guy is almost dying, and the manifestation in gameplay terms of you being desperate and trying to make your way out of somewhere. The animation's really good, the music's really good. It's like a one-off moment. Then hammering on the X button to like kick you and things like that. Then maybe it becomes something that's doable. But things like you say, just walking up to a door and trying to bash through them, or in the Batman games where you have to open a grill to get to the vents, that becomes very tiresome very quickly.
Yes. Exactly.
And I think they tried to do something there where maybe if you do it softly, Batman will do it softly.
That's true.
Or that maybe just when like if you haven't been discovered, he'll do it softly. If you have been discovered, he'll just kick it out.
But I mean, yeah, as well, you have triggers there to do that. You can do that analogly. If you wanted to do it softly,
Yeah.
you gently pull down on the button. Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna have to go to the judge. I think everyone's said what they're gonna say, haven't they?
Yeah.
Well, I got one more thing. I'd like to interject
Oh,
one more
God.
time. Okay. is to play less of a devil's advocate. I mean, it is kind of. I mean, I don't like cutscenes. I don't like long caverns, and I can do without mashing on a button to open a door. But if it meant that, like, the slower that you do it, like if you can't tap the button as fast as you need to, then there are enemies at least coming behind you to attack you. You're not just sitting there in front of a door by yourself. A lot of games, that's the thing. It's part of a cutscene where you don't have to worry about any enemies. There's no threat. But if they would at least add a threat, I think that would actually add purpose to mashing buttons or.
See also the bits in third-person games like Batman and especially Gears of War where your guy walks really slowly to answer a telephone. That if there was some moment in that where you were walking really slowly to answer a telephone while snipers were shooting at you and you had to just still walking really slowly go, what no what? Someone shoot? I'm sorry. No, I'm gonna have to.
No, I'm on the tube. I'm on the tube. Yeah, it's really full.
Well, as long as you're holding the wall, hugging the wall while you're making that phone call.
But I think that the more this goes on, we're going to stray off perhaps other golden resources for things to mine for this.
Judge.
Yes.
Verdict.
I've taken both sides into careful consideration, and after much deliberation, I have decided we need more of it in the video games. I would like more doors, because we're always complaining about how we don't get enough for our dollar. All it's doing is extending the gameplay experience. It's more gameplay for your dollar.
You do have to press buttons more. He's got a point.
Yeah.
That's technically playing games.
Real talk though, there was a time and a place for it, and I think that there is still a way for it to be executed properly, but in the very specific case of, like, Syndicate that you're talking about, I've played Syndicate, you're totally right. That shit is dumb. And so,
especially because I do really like Syndicate.
Yeah, no, you're right. If you're just opening a door, and even in the case of God of War, I'm going to give that a pass because the doors are made of solid rock, and you have to lift them up and above your head and stuff like that. Like, whatever, it's a dumb game. It worked for that. Syndicate, you are right. You are totally right.
They're just doors.
Just doors.
And so we're sending doors to jail.
Doors to jail.
Doors to jail. We might need to come up with a title for this section.
Corridors.
First offence will be 1 poop off. Second offence, 2 poops off. Third offence, we'll come round to your studio and
we'll
bomb
DDoS
it.
your website.
Yeah.
And lock all your doors.
All right. Should we do? Who wants another question?
Yeah. All right. I suppose.
All right.
Me, I
don't
gotta
all
redeem
kill
myself.
So yeah, 1 point, and then Jay.
Do you have a tiebreaker, Dave, in case?
No. Do I fuck? We can maybe come up with one. Maybe, possibly.
It should be like who's got the closest number, something or whatever.
Okay,
like
so
how
yeah,
much does
number
this
guessing
baby
thing.
weigh? Yeah.
How many copies of? Okay, we'll do how many copies of a game was sold. I'll look up a game.
Okay, I'm going to open VG charts right now.
No, you're not, because that would be dishonest, and we're playing with the honor system. You twat. Okay. Who am I?
Dave.
Winner.
We
Is that going to be the same joke every time?
Yes.
Noodle.
Go on.
Atari.
Dave.
God.
That's a point.
I really don't like texting or emailing.
Are you talking about yourself now, or are you talking?
I
about...
am in character.
Okay.
There are 5 clues. I'm no longer in character. There are 5 clues. All right, I'm in character. There will be 5 clues as to my identity, and one of them is kind of meta, so I'll be referring to myself as a character rather than a person. It will get confusing at times.
No.
I really don't like texting or emailing. My sister's name is Kate. Okay, I thought it was kind of a big one for clue number 2. Clue number 3. My character was written by the daughter of Terry Pratchett, Rihanna Pratchett.
Oh, Chris.
Yep.
Are you Lara Croft?
I am not Lara Croft. Chris is out.
Oh, boo.
Chris is out for the next clue. The world I live in is very conveniently painted. It makes getting around pretty easy.
Oh, I know it. I know it.
You can
I come in on the
You can
next
buzz
one?
in after the next clue. Yeah.
Drawing.
The last one. The last clue. Clue number 5. I am a runner.
Chris,
Yep.
you're Faith from Out of Mirror's Edge.
Yes, I am.
Oh,
Chris
I
is the
knew
winner.
that one.
Jay,
I knew
you
that one.
pathetic failure.
I knew that one too because I've actually played that game.
Well, that's a
Good
game you
game,
played.
I just
For what it's
sold it
worth,
to-
I got Mirror's Edge right last week, so
Oh yeah, it's
That
true.
was the second
I
time
really
I
like
asked
Mirror's
about
Edge. Whenever I try and think of any game, I think Mirror's Edge is the first one that comes into my head.
You know what? Like, I was thinking a lot about Mirror's Edge as I was playing Syndicate. Even though, like, Syndicate's very shooty, and Mirror's Edge isn't.
it's got the movement. Like
Yeah,
everything's
yeah.
very weighty.
Yeah. And I think it's the architecture as well.
I think it was made on the same engine and stuff.
It was probably all made in DICE, yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's good, Syndicate.
Wait a minute, Syndicate was Frostbite?
Yeah, maybe, because it's an EA shooter.
It would make sense, wouldn't it, just to reuse
It
them?
would.
They've got quite a versatile engine, so it makes sense if all their studios just borrow it.
Cool beans.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about Syndicate, or have you done enough in that game?
I don't have that much to say. I think you have to get by the fact that it's not the Syndicate that you and I know and love. But I think once you're through that, like it's a fun shooter. And I don't normally like shooters, especially not anything that sends you down a channel. But like it feels a lot more open than a Call of Duty or something.
Are you playing it on PC?
I'm playing it on PS3.
So
So I got it for 1,000 yen from one of our forum members. So
No, because I've only had the opportunity to play through one of the co-op missions, and
Oh, I've got it
like,
if you want to play the co-op stuff.
on PC.
Yeah.
I will so play some co-op with you.
All right, we'll do some videos. We'll do some Syndicate videos.
Oh, perfect.
The co-op's meant to be really good, right?
Yeah, and
So,
I'll get
yeah.
Kyle on here too, Socrates,
Oh, right, yeah.
because
Cool,
I know
yeah, let's
he
do
has
it.
it too.
Awesome.
Cool. Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
Check price on Steam and Amazon before I get it. I
it's
haven't played
probably
it yet.
dead cheap. It's probably really cheap.
Yeah.
I think.
I got
sure
it
you
for $5
shop around
on
for
an
it.
Amazon sale.
It's
But,
constantly
you
coming
do
up in
have to have,
sales. Yeah.
you have to have Origin, but I don't know. That doesn't bother me as much as it seems to bother others.
I'm
I
fine
got all
with
that.
Origin.
Yeah.
So I never play shooters, and now I've been playing Syndicate, and Metro's out next week.
Next week? Shit, really?
Yeah, 14th. Yeah.
Ooh, I should probably play the first one. I
Oh,
haven't.
you should. Yeah, you should play the first one and read the book as well. It's like the book's
How long's the book? How many pages are we talking? Do you know?
like 300 or so. It's not that
Okay.
long.
Yeah, I might see if I can. It might be out in audiobook form. I love me some audiobooks. We should get sponsored by
everything in a
Audible.
rusty accent. Everything's sponsored by Audible.
Yeah, it must be really easy to get sponsored by Audible. I bet you just have to make a website. I bet it's just a referral link. It's not, you're not even sponsored. People are just lying. I'll look into that. We'll pretend to be sponsored as well. All right. So just to finish, do you think it's better than Fear? Because I got along with Fear. Fear was fun. I liked Fear as a
Fear
corridor.
is
I
cool,
played
but-
the first Fear. Scared the shit out of me.
I only played the second one.
Fear 2's good.
Yeah, Fear 2 is good.
if I enjoyed Fear 2, do you think I'll like Syndicate more, less?
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, I think you might like it more.
I think it's way cooler. Like,
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
just
into sci-fi
style-
stuff, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
this is more
stylistically,
sci-fi, yeah. If you take Fear 2 and like mix it with a bit of sort of Crisis, but like Crisis 2, so kind of a little bit more confined then.
yeah, more like a shooter.
And you're kind of there. Yeah, it's good. It's a lot of
Cool.
fun.
I will
and
get on
hacking
that.
people's brains is it doesn't get old. Like you'll look at somebody and like one of the first ones you get is just you get the ability to get the guy to just put the gun to his head
Suicide,
and
yeah.
pull the trigger, and his little explosion will like hurt the people around him
But
too.
I love it. I love it when I love the little electronic scream that they make when you do that.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
like a Matrix noise, is it?
And
Oh,
then,
it's so good.
And then they do it. But yeah, I mean, that was the best bit of the original, the proper Syndicate, was like the Persuadertron.
Yeah,
And then, like,
yeah.
you used to go around just getting all the civilians and walking in a pack of like 100 civilians that were just cannon fodder.
Oh man, the original Syndicate was so good. In
Yeah,
fact,
never played it.
needs
on
to.
GOG,
Oh, God, get on that.
and
Yeah.
GOG.com right now, I think it's on sale for like $2 or $3. The original Syndicate.
Because that's something that I played when I was a kid and I didn't really fully appreciate it. And I came back to it like about 2 or 3 years ago. And I was like, oh my God, there's so much more to this. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
especially
it
when,
was
like,
just funny to me. It was like a fun toy
yeah,
with murder,
but,
you know.
but if you come back to it, it's like it's really fucking detailed. You've got to think about the weight of each of your weapons. You've got to adjust the little like the chemistry that's in the chips, like how much adrenaline they're getting and other stuff. And like you're doing research. Someone should do an XCOM on Syndicate, please. Thank you.
Was it ever on consoles or was that PC only?
It was on everything at the
Okay.
time, but it was
Yeah, it
like
came out
the.
over the course of like 8 years or something, didn't it?
Yeah,
Syndicate?
but I mean, you're in that. It came out in that fuzzy sort of '93 ESRB kind of formation thing. So the console version, I think the Mega Drive version wasn't that bad, but it was you were shooting robot. Everybody was like proper robots rather than humans, and things like that. But yeah,
I, of
it's
course,
always,
played
you,
it on
you
Amiga.
need to play it. Yeah, I played it on Amiga. Yeah.
As we did all the best games.
Yeah.
I want someone to redo North and South. I'm never going to get off that horse.
Oh, that came out. That came out this week on iOS.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have an iPhone anymore. Bollocks. Oh, that upset. Is it Android as well?
Buy an
Probably
iPhone.
not.
I don't know.
I do actually have an old
say
iPhone. I could just be
Android
using it as
coming
my
soon.
game thing.
Hmm.
There are so few games that I want to play on iPhone and Android. One of which we did actually play was Super Stick Man. What's its full name? Super Stick Man Golf 2.
Yes.
Okay, so
Something
Jay,
like
would
that,
you
yeah.
like to? I mean, you know, you've earned your time on the mound of victory, as it were. So go on. You've got the next 2 minutes to gloat.
Oh man, I'm hungry. It's lunchtime. But yeah, since the last update, now that we got cross-platform gameplay, I've been smoking everybody's asses.
That sounds like rapey.
It is. I've been raping you guys. I've yet to be
Well, one,
defeated.
you beat me by one shot. And then I beat Dave by one shot because he didn't understand that they were power-ups.
I
in
didn't
the game.
understand. I thought I was like, yes, fucking hole in one. I've got him. I was only one shot ahead, but I was like, well, he's gonna. Well, I think maybe I was two.
No,
I don't
you
know.
were... Yeah, it was like... I can't remember what it was.
I think
Yeah.
Dave, I think you gave up. on
Yeah,
that.
I did you see? Because basically, I had one really, really bad hole, and it took me like 7 shots to get it on something ridiculous.
Right.
Because I tried to do something clever and fucked it up and had to start again. And then I just kept missing the hole when I got to the green as well. So I was just like, well, I'm never going to catch up in this series, so I just
That's
went.
why...
forget it.
You just-
yeah,
yeah,
that's why
dude.
you have the 7 power-ups. You've got, like... You start off with just the mulligan, which lets you take the shots over again.
All
Then,
right. Well,
like,
I think maybe I looked at that power up once when I first got the game, and I was like, okay, does that mean I have to pay real money for more power?
No. I mean, like, you can unlock more if you pay real money, like, faster, but you also unlock them just by playing the game and beating the single-player courses. So you get, like, the sticky ball that just sticks to walls, and you get one that
Oh yeah,
changes...
Jay used that. That
Well,
sticky
yeah,
ball
actually,
can be
to-
really useful in like the complex levels. Can't
Oh,
it?
yeah. You get one that changes water to sand and sand to water.
Yeah, I didn't know any of this either. To be fair, the first time I ever used a power up was playing Chris when I
Yeah,
saw
that's
him.
because I was, yeah, when it first came out, I was beating the shit out of everyone. So it's like I was the only one that seemed to figure it's right there on the screen, the power up button.
I
So
was
for
always
those
afraid to
who,
use them because I was afraid they weren't free. So I was like, I don't want to spend
yeah,
anything to
I was
save 'em.
worried that it's going to be like they're going to start charging me money if I once I run out or something.
Well, speaking of that, I don't know whether perhaps as I'm talking about this and getting excited, you can do research on whether it's coming out on Android. But this week, there's a Sid Meier game coming out on iPhone, like a World War One. What's it called? Aces of
Spades?
something no, because it's a World War One game.
Before we move on, before we get to that, we should probably point out what Super Stickman Golf is.
Yeah, sorry.
It's a 2D turn-based. As golf games, always fun. Super Stickman is 2D with silly power-ups, and it's just had an update, which means you can play against people by their username, whereas before it was just random games. It was kind of stupid in that fashion. So you can now play cross-platform between iOS and Android, and you just put in someone's username, which frankly should have been in there from the start, but it's in there now, and now it's become a very cool game. It scratches the same itch as Words with Friends, basically.
Yeah.
Things
Yeah.
like that.
That's
But
the
it's
new-
golf, so it's super fun.
Because anything that's asynchronous. But that's what 2K are doing on mobile stuff right now. So 2K and Firaxis are actually putting out a lot of mobile stuff. They put out Haunted Hollow this week, which is like a little sort of, it's almost like it's kind of deck buildy card game kind of thing, but you're also playing on a board. And that's a free-to-play thing, but just with a really bad sort of in-app purchase system. I'll go into a Reddit piece about it. I haven't played it that much. But what I am excited for is Sid Meier's Ace Patrol. And that's coming out. Yeah, it's coming out on Thursday. And it's a turn-based sort of World War One dogfighting game. So you're sort of sending out orders and sending people flying in certain directions and stuff. And then, you can sort of pass and play, but you can also play asynchronously via Game Center. I don't know whether it's coming out on anything else, and you can play with Facebook or whatever. But if you see some of the screenshots that are out and about there, it looks really, really cool. It seems to tick all the right itches and stuff, and it's Sid Meier's game, so that's always good. And it's also got like 120 single player missions. What I instantly suspect is that you'll get the multiplayer for free, and then you have to buy the mission packs. But that sounds cool to me. So
fine.
more on that next week. That's a tease, because I'll definitely be getting that and doing videos and stuff.
Cool. Well, is there anything else anything we haven't mentioned? Oh, I'm going to this. I'll talk more about this after I've been to it. But Japan's first 4D cinema opened near Nagoya.
Oh wow!
So I've already seen Iron Man 3 in 2D. I'm gonna go and watch it in 4D. So it's a 3D movie, but you're also sitting in a cinema where the chairs can move. Not an awful lot, probably just more vibrate and do little shunts. I don't know whether they can fully lean forward or anything like that. But there are over 1,000 scents, so it's smell-o-vision, and it's 3D, and there are effects like fog and water can fall on you and things like that. And they can blast heat at you and things like that. Have you ever been to Universal Studios Japan? Like
Yeah,
the Spider-Man ride and things like that. I don't think it's going to be quite to that extent, but it's the same sort of thing, and it's at the cinema, seeing a film that you want to see, not just like a purpose-made short. It's going to be proper Iron Man for 2 hours.
I don't know how much they do move around, but I find those sort of those simulation rides at theme parks, I feel really ill, and I get really bad motion sickness. So I'm fine on like roller coasters, but just like even though they're kind of slow, the simulation stuff like does my head in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like kind of weird when the seat in front of you is like spitting water on you. It's like, is that the person sitting next to me or behind
The
me?
floor's all sticky.
I feel uncomfortable
different
in those types
reasons.
of theaters. It's like, what am I doing here?
So
I
yeah,
have to watch Iron Man 3. I need to see that movie. I think maybe I'll do that tonight. Speaking of which, didn't what's his
it's
name?
not going to be quite the same as going to USJ, so obviously, because that's more like an actual ride, whereas this is like little wobbly seats, I think.
Okay.
But I'll let you know how it is. I mean, if you guys wanted to make the trip, which you don't, obviously, we could go and watch it because it's the only place in Japan, and it's near me. It's not in Tokyo. What are the odds?
Yeah.
No, I'm just gonna go watch it in 3D. That's all I need on IMAX.
You've got an
Was it
IMAX.
shot?
There's probably an IMAX in Nagoya. I just haven't been to it.
I'm sure there is.
I just go to the cheap local cinema. It's 1,000 yen to go and watch like the early or late showing. Go for a nice steak lunch afterwards, since you're asking.
Sounds nice.
Is there anything else? Anyone? Tanner, you're here, right?
Yes.
Is there anything else you wanted to mention that you'd played? Or you had other things this week. It was your birthday.
It was my birthday.
Hooray! What did you do?
Yeah. Nothing. It was wonderful.
Didn't you just get back from watching Iron Man?
Yeah, that doesn't.
Well, that's something. Spoil it for us.
Oh.
I'm not going to watch it. You can spoil it to me.
Whoa!
I enjoy.
No,
Shut
no,
up.
la 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 la.
Nah, I'm not gonna spoil nothing. I really enjoyed it though, more than I expected to. I didn't enjoy the first two as much as everybody else seems to have, and it seems like I'm enjoying this one more than most people seem to have. So
I really liked it. I loved the first one. I thought the second one had second superhero movie syndrome in that, the origin story is always the most fun part. But I think this one was just a really good Iron Man movie, not necessarily your normal superhero movie. He's kind of it's almost like an established character, like James Bond or something like that. Now he's been in 4 films now, so it was a very good Iron Man film. Whereas,
it felt like a romp, like just a fun, like it was the appropriate amount of dumb that I wanted, but it was written smartly enough that there was genuine laughs to be had. And it, like, the happiest ending ever. Like, everybody has a happy ending.
Whoa!
Well, it doesn't matter.
No, but
Come on.
we're getting
You can't
close
spoil
to
it for me.
spoilers.
No, I guess I'm not going to give specifics, but just...
It's
All
not.
right,
It's not.
well, I didn't think that was going to be a spoiler. Hey, it's got a happy ending, and I left it feeling good.
They're not going to kill anyone off before Avengers 2, are they? So yeah. I mean, the second one kind of felt like it was kind of, we have this established superhero, let's give him a villain. And the villain wasn't amazing. He was just some dude who, most of the time would be like the sub-villain or someone he kills off at the start. But this guy was the bad guy for the whole film.
Yeah,
Whereas
and
the
the
third
situation...
one, it was genuinely scary and it was a big deal what was going on. And it felt like it was a big event in the world and not just something happening to Tony Stark on random Thursday.
Yeah.
I don't want to say anything more because it might be a spoiler. So,
That's fair enough.
but I did enjoy it. As far as like games that I've been playing, like my wife got me BioShock Infinite for my birthday, and the weird thing about, if you're following people on Twitter who talk about video games a lot, and if you listen to a lot of video game podcasts, if you follow all of that stuff, you kind of start getting even though if you're not getting deliberate spoilers, you're still getting all of these impressions that sort of shape the way that you're going to see the game going into it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so I went into it with already kind of a muddied sense of what I was going to be in for. Some people really loving it, some people being really disappointed. Fortunately, I am on the side of really loving it, and surprisingly so. Again, on the kick of, I tend to not like things a lot of people like. I didn't think the first two BioShocks were that awesome.
No, I didn't. How far are you in?
Let me think.
Not that one part where that one.
Let's just say, a certain character is not pleased with me. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so...
okay. It's a real kind of donut game, I think. It's the first 2 hours are phenomenal. The last 2 hours are phenomenal. And the middle is what's going to, sort of force your hand. If you like the middle part of the game, which is where you are now, then you will come out of it loving it. If you don't, then you won't.
The middle of a
actually
custard
genuinely
donut is the
enjoying it.
best part.
Not of a Krispy Kreme donut, because they're horrible.
Is BioShock Infinite a huge game? Is it?
It's like 10 hours, maybe.
Okay.
It's the sort of thing I
That's
should have
about right.
finished by now, basically.
Yeah, you should have done. Yeah, back when we were having this discussion, I was like, let's do a spoiler cast because I've got so much to say. And you're like,
Nope.
Well, I think that because the middle of the game really is very combat heavy, if you're not
Yes.
into that combat, you're not going to be into it. I'm having a blast with the combat, like jumping onto those skylines, like zipping around,
Yeah.
landing
stuff
in
looks
front of
cool.
people, popping them in the air, and I'm also using the vigors, all of them. Just like every single situation I get into, it's like, okay, this time I'm going to want to kick them up into the air. Maybe I'm going to use the crows and just mow them all down. It's cool that it actually, well, for me, it's encouraging me to use a bunch of different ones. A lot of other people
I never
hear.
got that. Because
No?
like you get them so quickly. You get the first bunch so quickly that I just kept with the latest one that they just gave me. I felt the same
Interesting.
way with weapons as well. Like I felt like I was just sort of staying with the machine gun and something else.
Oh God, I'm switching them all the time.
Maybe that's the key to it then.
Maybe that is. Yeah. But I
And I
think
usually don't do that. I usually stick with like, okay, this is what I know works. I'm gonna go for it. But like, you know how the enemies that launch the crows, right?
yeah.
Like if you use the bucking bronco on it, it kicks them up in the air. And if you have anything that's even remotely automatic to shoot at them, like you just like while they're in the air, like before they even hit the ground, they're dead. Meanwhile, if you try and use the bucking bronco on like a mechanical enemy, it won't kick him in the air, and so you have to
Right,
figure out
sure.
other ways to slow him down. So I'm actually really enjoying the combat, but I'm also enjoying the adventure that you're going on. So I mean, we'll see how I feel by the end of it. I understand the end is a mind fuck, but I'm trying not to think about that as I do this.
Yeah. All right, well, this has been the Where Does Godzilla Poopcast. If you want to stalk all of us, which why wouldn't you? My name's Space Endeavour on Twitter. You can follow Chris. He's at ReasonJP, no spaces or anything. You can follow Tanner. He's Chocobo Moshpit, all one word. And Jason Stillwell can be found drinking outside Chris's house.
My old house. I don't live there
His
anymore.
old house. I
Oh,
don't know
yeah,
where he
he's,
lives anymore.
he's crying outside the apartment Chris used to live in. So, you can go to wheredoesgodzillapoop.com. Yeah, that's where you can find all the reviews that we keep mentioning, and you can find the videos that me and Tanner have done and will do, and maybe Jay if he gets the game as well. Chris also does Japanese audio wrestling, which is part of the live audio wrestling thing. So if you like
Yeah.
wrestling, and we never talked about that today, but if you like
No,
your
no, no,
wrestling,
there
get on
was-
that.
Yeah, there'll be a new show up this week because lots going on. New Japan had a big pay-per-view. They're going in different directions. Kenta Kobashi's retiring this weekend, and he's a big legendary figure. So there'll be lots to talk about. That's going up Friday, maybe? Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. Also, if you want to talk to us and people like us, i.e. people who live or used to live or want to live in Japan, go to gaijingamers.com. That's where we all met. That's where we all chat shit about games, and it's where we argue about stuff. All right, thank you very much for listening. We love you very much. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.